Hello, REBBL. GMAN Division 4 CSR, your recap. Man, Chug Man Milk here, joined with me by Mr. Lord Brainlord.
Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone. Well, we're back again for what is now week 3 going to week 4. Thank you all for tuning in again. We got very nice messages, particularly from Crepsulum this week on the old YouTube, so thanks guys. Always appreciate it as normal. But yeah, I mean, I hope you all had a good one. Some people didn't, evidently, by the top 2 games on our list.
Yeah,
Should we just get straight into them? I have nothing else to really
I think.
mention.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a crazy week. Let's just get into the games. I think.
Yeah, okay, 5-0 firstly in the first result, the Dusseldorf Rheinfire versus Rorimbo Orcs. You don't see that every day. You've watched this game. How did it go?
Um, as you can expect, it went quite badly for the Orcs. It
You
was.
are,
It
yeah.
didn't go like atrociously. They just sort of, just the wrong. Like they failed their first 2 pickups,
Yeah.
and so he just runs around. And once it started, it just sort of snowballs. But it didn't. It didn't seem amazing. But then, yeah, it didn't seem like super unlucky either way. But yeah, the Dark Ops had a fireball on 4 people, which like injured 2 and not stunned the third.
Right.
And from that, I mean, they were already like 2 or 3 up by this point. They just they just ran around the sides every time, and yeah, just the Orcs failed the key stuff. A couple of GFIs, a couple of pickups at key moments didn't work out, and I don't think they removed anybody all game.
Yeah, it looks like they got 1 KO, but when a fireball injures
Yeah,
2 things and like you've already lost another one through just being
that was
randomly hit.
a double skull as well. That guy on his self-inflicted injury.
Oh, amazing. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah. What were they? Blitzers that like got injured or Blackhawks or
I think at least yeah, I think it was a lineman and 2 blitzers. Yeah.
well, when your blitzers go, then you shine. You're a really bad team as an Orc team, so that's quite unlucky for Rorimbo. When you're like down to 8 men all game against elves that are mostly healthy, yeah, okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
you can't cover the whole pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. You have to play looser to try and even like you have to play risky and like play passing games even just to get the ball safe, and then even then, you know, you get overwhelmed very quickly. So I don't know, poor
Misery.
Rorimbo. Better luck
Yeah,
next
that's
week.
just a miserable game for it. I feel bad for him.
Oh, well, who
On
had
the other hand,
the person who had a more of a miserable game was the the Lisbon coach. And I watched this
yeah,
game. I did watch this game actually.
yeah. I mean, I had
Uh,
to, as soon as I saw that
yeah,
scoreline, I had to
yeah,
watch that.
yeah. I mean, like it. Yeah, I mean, there were like a blitz did happen on turn 1.
Yeah, both of these games had like 1 blitz, which is like, yeah, it's bad. But again, it's like early blitzes. I guess they just sort of they start the snowball.
Well, yeah. I mean, like the fact is, like a lot of the skinks got like chipped, and the Niggled Saurus also got chipped, which is really just underlining that because this isn't a rat team that has claw mighty blow. I don't think. I think it's just mighty blow and pom and tackle and that kind of thing. So they don't have like the thing to push 9 armor, but at the same time, that Niggle just meant that on a natural armor break, you're already applying like mighty blow again anyway on the injury. So when he lost a few skinks and he lost like a Saurus or 2, he was playing for say like 8 or 7 men all game.
It was very sunny, wasn't not very sunny. Yeah, sweltering heat,
Yeah, also
and
Soaring Heat would took out.
Saurus was out every time. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was playing with like 3 or 4 Sauruses sometimes.
I mean there are some people who are very against kickoff events and believe that they're non-competitive. I still like most of them. You know, I think like Throne Rock's a bit nonsense, but Sweltering Heat, oh man, that is just a terrible. It went after like 8 or 7 drives or kickoffs. It doesn't change
It's
in
just
weather into
still,
nice.
yeah.
It's just
And
nonsense.
it was basically worse the lizards. Sometimes it was like they'd both lose 1 or 2, but otherwise the lizards would lose like 2 sauruses and 2 skinks, and the rats would be down a lineman. So I
Yeah,
just I'm hating it. If I
yeah.
was
It's it's
bad
it's
still.
it's unfortunate for the Lizardman coach, but I would say one thing. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a nonsense game. You can kind of walk away from that and say there's
Yeah,
not much I can really do about that. But at the
the,
same,
that the armor of this skinks was insane. He could just the rats even. He was just tagging up sauruses, just knowing that his armor would be fine.
yeah,
Nothing ever happened.
yeah. I mean, well, I prefer the ball hawky way anyway. But the one thing I will say is
Right.
for the Lisbon coach to do is fire the Niggled Saurus, just go over blockless one for a while. Probably get rid of like the Niggled I think the catch piece got taken out really quickly. I guess you could say, well, the catch piece doesn't usually take the field anyway, and then unless it's a bit of a dicing, which this was what happened in this game. It was a bit of a dicing.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do about that really. So, but I definitely think fire the Nigosaurus, because when I saw that on the in the injury box, I was like, well, that's no surprise. If there's one thing the Rats are going to chip on this team, it'll be that. Yeah.
Or that strength 1 skink, which is still wrong.
And they hate it. The fact that Wolfbark didn't immediately kill that, I'm going to start.
I think that skink actually did alright. Survived a fair while in this game.
That's amazing. It's like in my team for like 2 seasons I had a armor 6 goblin, and it wasn't like he had wrestle, but it wasn't like he was like not getting hit at all. I mean,
yeah, you think he would last maybe 1 or 2 games if you look.
Yeah, he got hit like 3 or 4 times in season 1 by a Clawpom Chorf, and just didn't die. He didn't even break armor for those 4 hits. He just survived.
What a champ.
I know. So maybe something about stat busted stunties makes him immortal.
Maybe it's the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is this is a result coming up now that doesn't really surprise me. I always said like this is probably going to be their easiest game all season. And that is the Duostuco Dragons taking one over the Calradian Crusaders. A very Elf versus Bash matchup. 14 blocks succeeded. But
this is a super cagey. Yeah, lots of standing off each other, and everyone. The people barely move. Just sort of 2 lines in the pitch.
Which I'm
poking at each other.
Yeah, I understand that. Although I think maybe the Nurgle in this sort of matchup at a point should be like, right, I'm just going to pile in and see what happens, because the Duostuco Dragons don't really have much in a way of response to that. These are the incredibly beaten up high elves, so.
You have the 4 loners.
Yeah, at a point you'll start making them rely on 2+ naked dodges, but with loner involved to like get free, which could either help, ding the position a bit in the future, especially like if they fail the first one and can't re-roll it, and you can just like hit 2 or 3 elves and then advance position and all that. But at the same time, I understand, that if you get a bit too dragged out, even with Nurgle, they can just hand off and run away, like you're messed up. But 1-0 is gets. Go on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was just saying. I think in the end, it was a little 4+ pass into a 3+ catch. So it was sort of the Nurgle guy relying on the stink, I guess, but just can't beat successful dice rolls in that case.
Yeah, I mean, 4+, 3+, it happens from time to time. Like, it's not unlikely of a re-roll, but at the same time, like, every time I see someone make a 4+, I'm like, and they make it, I'm like, you should roll the 25% fail. I can't believe it. Diced. It got fucking diced.
But it does actually happen.
Yeah, it does happen. If you play like a human team or any like 3-edge mostly team who does have like throwers and you have to make that kind of stretch play, you'll know that a 4+ happens, much to the chagrin of your opponent. But hey, I expected that result.
That's almost a reason to do it.
Yeah.
Just to make people hate it.
Yeah, I had a guy who kept. I was playing like rookie Nurgle versus slightly developed Vamps in another league, and the Vamp guy was just like constantly making 4-ups, passes and catches without using re-rolls, and I was like, okay, this should fail at some point. And then because we drew 2-2 at the end of the game, he was like, I guess the game just won't let me win a game for once. I'm like, do one. You just, yeah, 4+4+ into Vamp running around for 2 consecutive turns out with 1 re-roll and also no thrall to bite. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair.
What a tough time you're having. Yeah.
Yeah, you got diced, I'm sure, mate. Yeah. Next game is Rattlesnake's GNM's Massages.
Oh, these are the massages.
The massages versus Block You Like a Hurricane. And 2-2. Wow, I mean,
this is like a sort of a movement 5 elf game, basically.
Really?
Scoring back at each other. There was I think a Khemri 2-turn, or one of the teams that managed a little 2-turn, 4+ dodges to score from both sides. Fantastic, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Somewhat nonsense.
It was good. I think our prediction was that this is actually a game where a team like Orcs can actually be outbashed a bit because of the 5 strength versus the 4 strength and all that. There's no 2 or 3. There's only 2 strength from the Khemri team, so actually they are outstrength, the poor Orcs. And it shows in the block succeeded, but 9 armor, it seems, across the board kind of held up, apart from a single injury on the Orc side. Yeah, and then 2-2. I guess they wanted to play a scoring game.
Yeah, I think they both sort of, yeah, no one really got removed. They both almost blocked each other off and had to take risks and score early. And so you get a weird game like this where, yeah, neither of them could really outbash the other, so they end up doing weird else stuff.
Yeah, well, you know. I mean, I'm sure Rattlesnake won't be too concerned with that because he really did need more SPP as like a ramp-up team. So this is just as weirdly enough against Kemri, where you expect half the time that, oh, I'm going to go into the game, like, lose people, go in a spiral, lose SPP more than gain. Well, you know, he got at least 11 SPP, maybe more. Maybe
the 3 level ups you got, I think, yeah, you'd be happy with that.
Absolutely. So, you know, well done to both coaches. That's a nice result for both teams, I would say.
Definitely. Fun game too.
Well, our next game, is another in the classic Calcium Kaz series, where Calcium dices someone to shut. And you know, okay, firstly,
you wrote a nice message about this. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I was gonna say, like, I
yeah.
want to point out and just say, you know, hats off to Calcium and also Krepslem for being utter gentlemen and you know, scholars and sportsmen. Krepslem for being very like understanding when technical difficulties came up on Calcium's end, and Calcium for also acknowledging that, you know, laudatory about his opponent, and also, you know, nice. It's nice that he's also nice about the opponent after what just occurred in this game.
It's nice to have someone admit, like, yeah, I had some luck here.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, like, firstly, it's nice to point out that, yeah, Calcium did outblock Legion Dead Metal, so that does usually that'll cause more casuals anyway, but you don't know when those blocks start happening, because sometimes you'll, like, get one team outblock someone else once the casuals start rolling.
Yeah.
But either way, 6 KOs inflicted, 4 injuries inflicted. We did say Calcium's probably going to be beaten by this team, but if Color Mighty Blow fires, then... and I wonder if it did.
It wasn't great. I think the Necro got the ball stolen early, and he almost got it back and like stalled it out, but at the cost of getting his team rinsed.
Yeah. I mean, nothing else like looks particularly crazy apart from the KOs in terms of dice, apart from just like, you know, injury rolls are bad. Regeneration was okay for the most part, but obviously some ghouls must have been hitting this as well.
Our favourite, that lovely shadowing ghoul got hit a lot of time. He almost managed to sort of, if he had sidestep, he would have stayed on the ball carry. It would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
But we never got to see it. He just got smacked over and over.
And also, to be fair, like in terms of like skulls and that rolled, Krepslem didn't have a good time, but you know, either way, at least maybe hopefully your team didn't die. I haven't checked into the teams, but
I think he got injuries, but I don't think anything really stuck.
Which, you know, you'll be happy against, for, or rather, you'd be happy for that.
A game of, getting smacked, what was it, 50 odd times.
When most of your team is removed, yeah. But again, just to finish that one out, hats off to both Calcium and Kreps. Also, thank you, Krepslem, for the lovely words of praise on the YouTube. That was you, again, so brilliant. Anyway, our next game.
Yeah.
Our next game was Shurgard Elf Storage versus Freya's Guard, so Woodies versus Norse. Again, hats off. I keep having to shout out everyone in the division because they're usually top blokes. But shout out again to Carl Jaeger because he provides me like a sort of an update every week on how he felt the game went. And he was like, "Yep, this was a typical game." And we predicted like this could be the game where I have like a pretty nice. Deathless game in the previous game, you know, not. Yeah. This one was going to be just like back to life, back to reality, and that's what happened. He got another edge bust on his already edge bust War Dancer.
Strength 4 edge 2 War Dancer.
So yeah, he's like a fast. Like if he gets a double next skill, he's not like he's legend next skill, but if he gets a double, he can get break tackle and just be a faster Setek.
That would actually be kind of a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, I recommended it, and I was like, yeah, why not? That'd be quite funny. And then he said, yeah, that's what the Sage said. I was like, yo, guess what? The Sage said it, so you should make him a break tackle elf. I mean, like...
he did a 4+ leap this game. I'm not sure you're going to see many 5+ leaps, though.
Yeah, might. I mean, to be fair, with dodge built in already, that's a 75% to work at least, so at a pinch... he shouldn't really be getting hit anyway. But you're happy to rely on the other strip baller to be your one leap in thing. So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you've got to keep him. He's still good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still amazing. I definitely think this could very well change how Carl Jaeger plays his games beyond this one, because I don't think there's any
Definitely
war dancers.
next game with
no war
dancers now. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got pitch cleared. That was yeah. But he still managed to get a 2-2 with a little one turn at the end with 6 elves. Or
yeah, he was very surprised about that. Like that was like he was allowed to do that.
He got 5 KOs. They all woke up, so he had a shot.
Yeah, well, that like at the same time, like we do say like, oh well, elf games can go like this against Norse. Like this is like Norse's wheelhouse facing this sort of opponent. But 19 blocks succeed into 7 KOs, 4 injuries, and a death is a little bit.
I mean, there was a lot of fouling. Hartman, the catcher who died, he was killed with a foul. Treeman was taken out with a foul. But also, the war dancer who got missed next game, he was killed. Appoed into fine, come back, and get injured again. So that these 19 blocks still did produce like 4 injuries, I think. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it does happen with a team with Mighty Blow and Tackle and piling on, and also Juggernaut if he has it. I can't remember if he does, but like that still is brutal. That's still a brutal game. Like if that happens, you should be like, yeah, even for fouling, like for it to remove someone.
That
pretty
many,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was grim. Yeah, the dice shows a little bit of what happened. I think, doesn't it? It doesn't seem.
Yeah, well, at least he got the 2-2. I'm sure he'll be okay.
I think, yeah, I was so happy that he got that 2-2 at the end after going through unbelievable misery for 16 turns.
Yeah, absolutely. Our next game is a bit of a tragic one. It's a 2-2, which you might think, oh, both teams would be quite happy with that. The Chaos usually struggle against Elves. It's not a loss, at least, for the Dark Elves, but they got 2 deaths. Some of those are very important players. At least one of them is. I think a Witch Elf died who had the edge up, so that's terrible.
The star of this team is Frida Kahlo, yeah. The star with 1 assist foul.
Yeah, that's...
dead into dead.
Yeah, I mean, like it's 7 armor, so it's only a 7+, not counting dirty player.
Yeah.
It happens, but it always sucks. Like I've had like in Challenger Cup, I believe I got like 1 assist fouled on my Skaven killer. I got KO'd all game. I just lost the game against Fiction straight up because I didn't power up it. I was like, no, it'll come back. I have 2 goes. 2 goes come and go. No, he's not back.
Then,
okay.
Yeah,
Brilliant. All right, amazing. Cheers, mate. But yeah, so 2 pieces really died, and I also got word back from Dark Quark as well. Apologies, Dark Quark. I never responded on the day. I didn't respond at all actually in the end because I was like busy doing other things. I come back as I'm sitting in bed. I realized you sent me that. I'll come to you in the morning. I wake up and then I saw like you're in the GMAN chat being like, wow, I went a little bit off the deep end. So like, yeah, I understand that. Fair play.
I think he kept it together because I mean, Frida Kahlo was killed. She jumped in to sack the ball. He gets killed. He kept it together. He did turn him over. Got scored back on or whatever. And the Chaos, I think they got a little 2-turn at the end to tie it. So he actually did pretty good.
Yeah.
I would have been clothes on in the shower at that stage.
I'm still clothes on in the shower about just during a game last week because I forgot to run it in. So I can imagine how Dark Quark feels.
Especially when a team which is like, it's solid but unexceptional, and then it has this one nice star piece. And of course, that's the piece that dies.
Yeah, the edge up can really like just make or break a team, and just gives you like an I win button a lot of the time.
She's been sacking the ball every game so far, I think. Yeah.
I guess the tragic thing about this all is still like 1, as you mentioned, that 1 assist foul was really annoying. The 2, like he has a lot of blodge sidestep, but it didn't really matter because he rolled pals and then the Mighty Blow kicked in. So like we know that Chaos with Mighty Blow first a lot of the time is like a bad build because it's not solid enough, it's unreliable. Mighty Blow, like if you go Mighty Blow first on things, you'll probably get, I think the statistic works out like you get less Kaz with Mighty Blow first than you would block first, just because of the amount of hits you can take otherwise with block.
It's gonna, tip against you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this didn't matter though. You just pow, and you'll injure it so often.
Yeah.
But that's the high variance game that they play, and I'm sure the Jopon craft beers will be very happy that it worked out for them. But here's another thing that I think is a bit sad though for the Chaos, is that the guy who got the MVP was the niggled block guard guy, and this was like my this was my fear going into the whole like season. The longer you keep
them,
yeah,
100%.
Unless he gets like a Kaz next game and then rolls dodge.
Yeah, that could save him.
Yeah, maybe. I still wouldn't. You know, I've come around to the whole keeping the 9 movement skink guy. Purely because, you know, yeah, he is 2 pushes, a 2-turner with stunty, like that's pretty good. But a 1-turner rather with stunty. But with this guy, when he's like supposed to be in a battle, I wouldn't like that at all.
It's going to be that weak point, isn't it? Yeah, forever.
Absolutely. We now go into looking at the teams, though. Hooray. And we start off with Krepslim's team. He got nothing, I think. I don't think he got anything.
Yeah, I think I think he got maybe just his like. Did he just get like 5 SVP from this game?
Yeah.
I think he got a vanity pass somewhere, but yeah.
It didn't matter. He got nothing. We're not going to look at your team. Sorry, Krepslim, but maybe you won't be destroyed next week. Maybe. We'll look at Carl's. We'll look at Carl's team because. Whoops.
This is just sad.
Yeah, he's back to 6 men. I mean, you know, there's 1 or 2 things to say in his like. Oh, that's not too bad. He still has a 7 movement, 5 edge blodge guy or Rog guy with leap. He does.
He's like a backup war dancer basically. You still got Cowboy.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get some SVP on Gamer Pile eventually. That would be a silver lining to this.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the other like guard catcher died, which is grim. Double edge bust. Yeah.
This is horrible. I mean, it seems like only Norse do it to this extent, but
I mean, like as they say, like the most flippant anti-Norse people are like Norse win because they dice you, and it was a little bit of a dice.
See why? Yeah, no, if I suffered through this game, I'd maybe be feeling the same way. So he's got a level up on this Core Knight the Cursed. So, did he buy him from the market? That's not a very.
Core Knight, I think Core Knight is well, unless like he has an inside joke with Core Knight, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe, I don't know. But maybe.
I don't remember him from the film anyway.
Yeah, Core Knight the Curse. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was was it Adam Baldwin's best mate? I can't remember which one of the Baldwin brothers he was. Yeah.
What do you take there? Do you think? Do you go dodge sure hands? I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Well, sure hands is good. Sure hands is okay, I guess, actually. Because things like if you already have like you do have a Sacker and Lockhart, so you could just be like, well, I'll give him sure hands and then boom. But dodge is probably better for the survivability standpoint.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think normally Lockhart is the guy that jumps in and grabs the ball.
Yeah, so maybe for this game, but at the same time, you don't want to like build a player for 1 game. I don't usually like.
Yeah.
That's
like maybe for this team,
maybe for this team, maybe for this team because the team might not exist next game. But I've seen people who take like, oh, I have an elf team next with like 2 dodge. I should take tackle ghoul, but it's tackle nothing. It's tackle like and the dodge, and I'm like, no.
When are you even gonna use this guy? Yeah.
Yeah, he's useless. Don't you rather give him wrestle because at least it's the same odds to knock something down.
And at least it's useful for any other game ever.
Yeah, and rather than just have a guy who's like, oh, well, I have tackle as well, so, you know, it's straight up 40%, 50% to, like, knock him down, and then he has no regen. Which is, you know, goes down to...
Cool.
Yeah, it's stupid.
He's got a long life ahead of him. So we'll probably take tackle on Core Knight the Cursed then.
Yeah, take tackle on Core Knight the Cursed. Well, we say that, and I don't know who's playing. Maybe he's playing someone like Kemri. Actually, that would work because the Kemri have that dodge thrower, I guess.
They were happy. Yeah, they were throwing some dodges out last game.
Kemri dodges don't fail. It's just the truth.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe just be a big thrower. Who knows?
Yeah.
Take it. You Maggie, strong arm if you're lucky. Who knows?
Might. Yeah. Well, we move on now to Rimbo's team, and I think his team always had that adjunct blitzer.
Yeah, he was doing work this game.
Oh no, he hasn't. That is new because it leveled up this game.
Is the other team that has the
yeah, it's the other team. Yeah, this Rimbo's
orcs.
Much
attention. God damn.
Oh yeah, well, terrible. Yeah.
I like an Edge 4 orc. You get a lot of use out of them.
Yeah, no, I do like an Edge 4 Orc. Like, you can say, well, I don't want Mr. Throw anymore. Mr. Throw goes away, and you give him... You use the Blitzer as the carrier piece. Probably not a good idea still. A lot of people, like, argue over the merits of the Thrower. I do, like, prefer to have a dedicated ball carrier.
Just to keep the extra blitzer in the mix, isn't it? Really.
Well,
That's
yeah,
the
'cause
main
you don't
thing,
want to
is
give...
losing.
It's keeping him in the mix, and you don't want to give, like, sure hands to that Blitzer. You'd rather just give him, like, guard still and mighty blow and that kind of thing. Sure hands is a bit of a wasted skill. But, yeah, it's the same principle of, like, why you wouldn't take a carrier ball center.
Yeah, because what you're losing in other parts of the pitch, definitely. I think it's nice to have the 4 as a backup. Like let's say the other org team managed, they could do a little pass to tie the game at the end.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that in the locker.
You could give the throw, like, accurate. Usually you wouldn't take accurate, really, unless it's, like, after block and
Kickoff, maybe.
kickoff return, maybe fend even. Like, that's when you would probably take accurate, but you could take accurate a lot earlier now. You could give him something like block and accurate. You can give him like kickoff return and accurate, and just like say, well, he's not going to try and get hit at all, really. But it's up to Rimbo. The team looks much the same apart from M&G linesman, I think that is. Yep.
Mr. Bad.
Yeah, he's sad that he's gone because he is one of the few guard options on the team. But
it's light on mighty blow and light on guard at the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He's I'd usually just go guard on 3 of the blitzers, and then 1 gets mighty blow. And I'll make a decision when to give a mighty blow. Usually, it might be later on. It might be like after 2 guard or whatever. But when you try and split it, so you have like a 1's guard, or I wait until the Blackhawks get guard to give them guard. And I'll give like mighty blow for 2 people. You split your allegiances, and you find out that 1, yeah, 2 mighty blows or 3 mighty blows is good for the LOS, but you only really use the 1 other mighty blow.
It's just waste of money.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
I do love these Blackhawks, so I'm not saying anything bad against them, but they have absorbed quite a lot of SVP and team value between them.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the 2-star Blackhawks. I mean, star Blackhawks are really good, and these are amazing for like.
These are great. I love them. Yeah.
They're amazing. They're great for pitch control and that. But at the same time, one of them gets chipped, which is unlikely. But if it does happen, then it's a bit of an issue. And also because they are quite slow and cumbersome, if play passes by you, they become more and more irrelevant. But
which I think you felt that in his game this week. They didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, precisely, because he's facing a decently fast team who...
They don't have tackle still.
Yeah, precisely. So that's unfortunate. But we'll now move on to Dark Walk. Yeah, his team looks... I mean, honestly, look at his team. It's not, like, horrible or anything. Like, it's still solid.
Yeah, the team is... Exactly, yeah. It's, obviously, he lost basically his best player, but the rest of the team was, like you say, was completely solid.
Yeah,
really
I mean...
Blitzers.
It's now 4-7. Like, no, he has an issue with the Death Spiral. He will have 2 loners. But how many of his pieces have like blotch? You know.
Exactly. He's got that really tight core. I think he's going to be basically completely fine.
He'll be fine. He'll recover it within like a game.
Elf are pretty good, aren't they? Yeah.
And also, he did roll a move up, and maybe also the block on the linesman. I can't remember if that's new, but he did 100% roll the move up on the Wrestle Witch Elf.
That's good. You got almost a ready built replacement with a Wrestle even, so he'll be slightly better at sacking the ball.
Yeah, this is a really great ball sacker, but also it gives him a more reliable and viable 1-turner. Because 7, you can do it with 7 movement sidestep pretty easily, but at the same time, that is a little bit of an issue. If someone knows how to defend against it, and you don't have enough people, which can happen with a Dark Elf team, it kind of sucks. But you only need like 9 people to do a 8 movement 1-turner.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more viable with Frenzy, especially on the other one.
Precisely. Yeah. So, yeah, losing your adjunct piece sucks, but adjunct pieces will come, they'll go. You don't know what's going to happen to Sandro Botticelli. He might get adjunct. Who knows? Could happen to Henry Matisse. Who knows? Could even happen to Frida Kahlo #2. So
that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Straight into adjunct again, reborn.
That was strength. That was strength. Well,
yeah. Would you take it as even better? I think, isn't it? Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be amazing. Not only would it be hard to hit, so less chance that you'd be on the ground, less chance of being one that's just fouled into death, but also just frenzy for strength is molto bene.
It's juicy. And yeah, Botticelli's going to get a little Vene pass next game. It'll be moving on forwards again, I think.
Yeah, so my sympathies, Dark Quark, for the hard game you had, but yeah, it'll be fine. It's Dark Elves.
Yeah, you know Wood Elves.
How many Dark Elf coaches in this league have shown that they can like recover after a bad start of the season? Yeah. We now move on to the Open Craft beers, and he has a block guard piece in Coit beer, which is very nice. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Jacobus block guard, that's lovely. He has fired the Niggled only guard piece, so that's good. Yeah. Oh yeah, fantastic.
This is looking, it's looking lean and mean, isn't it now?
I like this team. I do like this team now. It's really getting there, I think. I do have criticisms always. As I said, like I've expressed doubt about these Chaos Warriors. But the guard showing its way onto the team now and all that, it's looking really good. There's only one real thing this team is missing, which is a Claw Mighty Blow piece.
True. I'm sure it's in the pipeline, isn't it?
Yeah, well, either Johan Itia or Sinner Remorse will get Claw, and it'll be fine. My advice to the Chaos Coach is this. It's a valid. I hate. I know I've said I hate like taking Mighty Blow first without block and that kind of thing. But when a very young Chaos team like enters the fray and starts doing its thing, a lot of coaches will decide to take a Mighty Blow into Claw Beastman, just because it's like, let's see if we can build a killer early on. Let's see if we can get our like killing skills online. Yes, for anything that's like got block, it's a 55 or 50% or whatever chance to knock someone down.
Like, yeah, if you're hitting on that as you blitz, you're willing to put the rerolls in.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So it's like I don't like tackle first. It doesn't do much. But Mighty Blow Claw first on the Beastman is okay. You'll see a lot of Pestigores and Beastmen also just like do that. For the Chaos Warriors, I prefer them just to be solid and get blocked because it helps them for LOS, it helps them for defense, etc. But that's a valid strategy. But either way, I mean, now that his Mighty Blow block Beastman is already like close to Claw anyway, it's not so vital now you're in your second, third season. But that's just like...
the other two Chaos Warriors are near blocking as well, aren't they? Things are moving in the right direction on that front.
Yeah, the Minotaur is very close. Just one Kaz and it'll be...
Yeah, that's true, him as well.
Yeah, so very good team on the rise. Keep a lookout. Speaking of a good team, this team destroyed the Wood Elves, and we're going to give them a little look-see.
Terrifying 1840 team.
Yeah. I don't think much has changed since the last game week. I don't think anything has changed apart from... Is that guard on that Berserker maybe new? I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he must have got so much SPP from that game, from the amount of injuries putting out. But yeah.
Well, if like some of them are fouls and all that. Like, yeah, Loki the Lake.
That's true.
Loki the Lake looks like he leveled. Yeah, he did. So he got guard.
Oh, so he's right. So fair play to the lad.
Yeah, I mean guard's good. It's probably better than just taking another pom piece. Guard is good. This is what the team is lacking. We said this as much, like, didn't we? Like, even though you have the 5 strength linesmen and you have like 4 strength pieces and the Yeti and all that, you still need the guard for the worst matchups.
Can't play Wood Elves every week. Exactly.
Can't play Wood Elves every week. When you face a Lizard team, or you face a Chaos team or an Orc team, even if you're now matching them in terms of strength most of the time, you are still quite fragile in places. So guard there just to stop them like guard locking you when your pieces are indisposed or you're losing your most valuable pieces is good. So I completely think that Loki the Lake getting is that Loki the Loke? Loki the Loco. Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense. yeah.
Loki the Lake. That's much less cool.
Loki the Lake. Well, because he's calms the lake despite having frenzy. I thought it was some sort of ironic thing where it's like
really zen berserker.
If he dies, Glodian, you should change his name to Loki the Lake, because that would be ironic and funny. But yeah, the team is good. The team's good. There's not much to say. It's mostly the same, but we enjoy. I think I like the guard pick. Let's look at the Lizardman team. Yeah, so it hasn't changed either. at all. Apart from maybe no, Stan Firm's been there. He didn't have the Crocs last week. Did this week? Did he?
Yeah, that was another
Yeah.
another thing that went against him. No Crocs.
Yeah, that was probably one of the reasons it went so wrong. He was missing a
It's such a
5
nice
strength
Crocs
piece. He was missing like prehensile tail can do some work occasionally. You know, there's not much
Yeah,
that's
wouldn't say
changed. Well, there's like some MGs came back, but there's still, as I say, I think there's one thing we both agree on here. Get rid of the Nigglsaurus.
I think so. You maybe keep the Amorate one because he's got dodges, alright. I think we've been through this. This Strength 1 skink, I mean, at this stage, I love him.
He's funny.
but-
He's funny. He's funny. Yeah, and then the movement 9 guys we've said, he's actually a decent 2-turner, a 1-turner. Well, 2-turner as well, but 1-turner mostly. So if Dark Usil wants to just use him for the 1-turner, he knows how to do the movement 9 1-turner. And if you don't know how to do the movement 9 1-turner, Dark Usil, go on Fumble and learn, because this is what your
even
team...
I know how to do a movement 9 one.
Yeah, that's really easy. You need like 7 men, and considering how many men you had against Wolfbark, you could have done it every turn at least. So
all those kickoffs, yeah, come on.
I mean, well, to be fair, I think like that skin got Kaz in the first minute or two,
Yes.
so he couldn't have.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
well, I mean, well, he has a bunch of like sprint skinks, so he still could do that. But yeah, if you know how to do the movement 9, great. If you don't, do, because otherwise there's no real point of having that.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, like I say, normal skinks, fresh skinks, they're not that bad compared to leveled up skinks, aren't they? A leveled
Yeah.
up skink is still a skink at the end of the day.
Still skink. But yeah, there's nothing changed in terms of skills. But yeah, get rid of the Nigglsaurus. I think you should have seen during that game against Wolfbark that he didn't have like claw, but he still managed to chip pieces either because of the Niggles or otherwise. So get rid of it. We don't like it. We hate it.
They
Spit on
probably
it.
would stay
Puh.
KO'd for 6 kickoffs normally, but you know, it's still a chance, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, time for Calcium's team. Calcium's team has got a few things. He got block, I believe, on that Bull Centaur with edge up. Very good.
Tasty.
Yeah, it's very good. Nice and juicy. It's evident that he's not going to turn it into like a ball carrier. He's probably just going to be like, well, he gets the standard skills and all that, but there's a chance that he won't roll break tackle on a normal dodge. So you can be a better sacker that way. I think I like that. I like that. High risk, high reward. You might think like, oh, his claw mighty blow, that guy should be like doing all the Kaz and all that. But actually, it looks like, although he gets like a decent amount of Kaz through the other mighty blow in his team, including desperate measures, Calcium has a fantastic fouling game. I think that's a lot. He manages to push his advantage a lot because he has a great fouling game as well.
Certainly does.
He got as well. He got, I think that's guard on the we can rebuild him though, like last week or two, which is good. He needs a guard, and he also got fend on the Hobgoblin, which is good. It's solid. I do wonder if he should have taken kickoff return first, but I guess he's like, I'd rather him not get hit. I'm usually in control enough that it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
but I love kickoff
return.
return.
Either or, isn't it?
Yeah, I like kickoff return a lot more than fend usually, just because it really does help. But evidently Calcium knows what he's doing with his team.
Yeah, I think if you've got maybe an Edge 3 Bull Sensor, it covers that a little bit. For emergencies, you can move him around without too much difficulty.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And then you have like a 4 strength piece where it's like only if you're facing an elf team with 4 strength, or you're facing like chaos or horns or anything, will it be that much of a deal? But yeah, fantastic team. We really enjoy those chorfs.
That's still chorfs.
It's still chorfs, yeah. I mean, but hey,
stay reasonable. But yeah, they are looking nice in their lovely yellow suits.
They're beautiful. You love them. But yeah, we now move on to block you like a hurricane. He's now has a blodge, kickoff return, thrower. He has a piling on blitz thrower as well. So that's pom tackle, very good. You love to see it. And
very tasty pieces. He's got his team guardian back, who was on holiday or something, I think, last game.
Did it die or yeah?
That might have been MG, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, might be.
It can't be a new one. It's already got some SPP on.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's pretty good. His team's solid. Blodge on a thrower is great, not only for the dodging thing, but
picking up the blocks. That's a nice guy now, isn't it? Really.
The only thing, the thing that this team could probably do with is another thrower at this point, because one, throwers do get KO'd even with blodge. You probably want another thrower anyway.
You still armor 7, yeah.
and also
And just
leader.
it's not a skeleton.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah, you
skeleton.
can get leader. It's got an extra bit of movement. It can get SPP a little bit better.
Yeah, and it has sure hands and all that. So yeah, why not? Well, I've just noticed that I've noticed that throw rods just now don't have thick skull at all, which I think is a bit odd.
Yeah, they movement. One more movement, they are actually more likely to go out.
Yeah.
But I still think they're still better than a skeleton. You don't want to put loads of development on a skeleton. So
that's true. And sure hands, just having the sure hands, I think the second option is. I've seen so many Camry teams where they just get like knocked off the park and they lose their good throw raw and they don't have a throw raw as a replacement and they just lose, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, they do. They get knocked out on the first block every game, famously, don't they? So
yeah, absolutely.
He's got enough money to buy one, even if they are ludicrously overpriced.
Yeah, so that's what my recommendation for Skeleton should be, is do that. Probably wise.
Agree.
We now move on to the Astuco Dragons rookie Titan having a good game. As good a game as you can have, really, when your team's busted. But, okay, firstly, he hasn't leveled up his linesman, so that's probably going to be Dodge, we probably think.
Yeah, it's got to be Dodge, isn't it? Unless he's got a double, in which case we'll see, I guess, Guard.
He can definitely buy back a new Blitzer now, and at that rate, he'll be up to 9.
Which is pretty good for an elf. I'm happy with 9 players.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's like, not as all-around solid compared to the Dark Elves in terms of, like, they all recover easily. This team could very well have bad games.
Yeah, he's a long way off that still. The lack of, less block and dodge still. He's got a fair amount, but yeah.
But he's almost at the point where it's like, you look more like a decently old high elf team rather than like if you were to show me his team with the extra blitzer and you'd say, oh, he's played 16 games, I would say I can see that he must have gone through a bit of a spiral, but his team looks quite nice, okay. But rather than what he looked like,
going off.
Rather than what he looked like in season, when he looked at the beginning of the season, this team was just like, oh, this is horrible. And then by game week 2, it was like, oh my god. But this team's coming along again. He's got block on.
Yeah, I think he played a nice conservative game, kept everything even-handed, which is just what he needs right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice, a bit more block.
He's got skills on all the catchers. He has block on the strength up catcher, so he is opting to keep the catcher, which is fair enough. Strength 4.
Yeah, strength 4 is so nice for elves.
And like, you don't usually put a catcher out on the line anyway. A lot of the time, unless you're really desperate. So if he just keeps that in there for like blitzing holes through the enemy defense and that kind of thing, that'll be fine. The niggle doesn't really matter as much. And if he only gets dodge, which will be pretty soon, I'm sure, he'll be like, it's alright. You can keep a niggle at that stage, even if it's 7 armor.
So. Yeah, I think he's worth keeping. Like, you got so much armor rate. He's like one of 2 guys you really need to watch and keep safe. I think you can manage that quite happily. Yeah,
his team should be fine in that respect. But yeah, no complaints here apart from level up your players, please, because otherwise we can't recap you properly. I'll crush you. Like
you're not really going to psych this guy out that much if he doesn't know you've got dodge yet. He'll figure it out.
I mean, if he rolls another double and just get guard, I guess. I mean.
But yeah, I mean, fair enough. If you've got a secret strength up, maybe you want to keep that in reserve. But on the whole, yeah.
Yeah. We can now go into the Calradian Crusaders, and I believe they have 1 level up, being a guard Nurgle warrior.
That's nice.
If he's anticipating next game week, that's fair enough. Guard first is usually something I would only really do with Old Funners and Flesh Golems when I'm like in a pinch during like a mid-season where I've had to rebuild one.
Desperately needs it. Yeah, because obviously there's no guard, but there's not a whole lot of block in town either.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the block on the Rotters and they're there and that, but like the Nurgle Warriors are really the ones that are in the fight. And when you have like someone can throw 1 dice and get you down on like half the time.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Be happy to do that against these guys.
Precisely. Guard's okay. It's not horrible. It's like a guard first is valid a lot of the time. There are cases where you need it, so don't hate it. In terms of what he needs to do going forward, I would say to Project Angel, go get an extra reroll. That's what's missing from this team.
I think especially with that guard, you're going to be that's 1 more guy to throw 1 in 9s, isn't it?
Yeah, precisely, and like, yeah, you pretty much. There's nothing else you really want. You don't want the 4th Pestigore or anything because you need to develop the other 3. They're not there yet. You need a Mighty Blow, Pestigore, and let's say Artemina. Jeremus II should probably get sure hands or 2 heads and become your ball carrier.
Yeah, that would be nice. You can probably get a reroll next game, depending how it goes. Definitely the game after that, as long as nothing goes wrong.
We say that, and then instantly 2 Niggle Warriors die, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for saying that.
But yeah, jinxed. You've been jinxed. Yeah, okay. No, it's okay. It's coming along. It's like a very young Nurgle team, but it has its promises. We will now move on to Wolfbark, though.
Hey.
Hey.
I think he got 2,000 SPP this week.
Yeah, he got 2,000 SPP. Not only is everything a legend, but he actually has one player who is level 8 now, or level... Did you see that? How technically the way that SPP works in Blood Bowl Cyanide is that you can actually get a player to earn so much SPP that they hit like a hidden cap and get an extra level up unintentionally. On Reddit, there was like a Storm Vermin who had like Claw Palm, this, that, and that. I had like 1,200 SPP or something. Ridiculous, and like on some private league or some maybe even.
I mean, Wolfbark is the coach to get that.
I mean, like
moving 12 gutter runner.
Yeah, oh god, yeah. He breaks the skill cap, and now he just has like he just walks it in. Doesn't even need the GFI. But
it's casual.
Yeah, casual as you like. But in this game, what he really got was Crystal Hunter 2 is now Wrestle Strip Ball. Pretty nice.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Pretty nice. And also you got on Luminous, you have Diving Tackle, which is also with Blodge Size to Diving Tackle. That's a great combination. You love to see it.
He was putting SVP, spreading it around very nicely, very intentionally around the guys.
Yeah,
getting those levels. Yeah.
He needs to build a second Crystal Hunter. You need to build a Crystal Hunter anyway, because that really was his weak point. But now he has like the match from one turner. He has the primary Sekka. He has the assistant to like make someone scream and like have a real big issue during moments of pressure, and that Diving Tackle guy. And if anything goes wrong, Crystal Hunter also does the job on a two uphill die or like a 1 die and that kind of thing.
It's a lovely set of gutters now, isn't it? Yeah.
And the next game, things go right for him. He could even have a chance to roll for another Claw. He could go Juggernaut. Yeah, so this team looked very good. It seems that Wolfbark is doing the same thing that we thought he was going to do, which is he was 100% going to keep all of his busted pieces.
Just to keep the bench, yeah. Because he does love to tag people up, take the hits, and just rely on having numbers. So yeah,
I like
he's
that.
Got a bit of money, could start buying even more or replacing or something.
I'd buy an extra linesman or 2 for next game with one is MNG anyway. I just don't really like Wolfbark's way of playing. I play Skaven in another league in UK BBL, and I just go ball hawking every turn if I can. It's just much more fun, and also it's much more effective against certain teams. He got some busted linesmen, I guess, but that's part of the. Yeah, that's mostly part of the occupational hazard. They could have all had those busts from just the LOS hits. There's nothing you can do about that. So hey, throw them away. Just do whatever you want.
And as a recapper, it's also I want every coach to play like that. Got to give that a thumbs up. Way more exciting.
It is.
To work somebody who just does not care about the livelihood of his team.
Good, yeah. You just throw pieces into the grinder to get the result. Power Rappo, do all of that. There's no I'm not a turn 16 foul man, but hey, if you like that, do that as well.
Why not? Yeah, at this stage.
Why not? Just be a mad bastard.
You can.
We'll move on now to Düsseldorf Rainfire by Siggy Niggy Kniggy, because that's still a racial sensitivity. Yeah, a racial sensitivity complaint in the making. But
yeah, we sent someone from HR over.
I was getting shouted out by Metal for being a racist. This is why we don't pronounce Spicosaurus's name, because.
What you spoke? Yeah, I mean, I'm just staying well away.
I'm staying well, yeah. So Siggy, he got tackle on his Mighty Blow Blitzer.
Fandbean. Not found that name. Is that a random name? Fandbean?
I can't tell. It might be a random name. There's some really stupid random names, including there's a bunch of ones on Beastmen and Goblins that are just straight. You can't add them yourselves because they get flagged by the Fravanti filter.
Oh yes, there's borderline homophobic names on the Beastmen.
Oh yeah, the Beastmen are borderline homophobic, and you find some just blatantly racist names on the Goblins where it's
oh wow.
If you switched around what they say, they would be a racist word, including our favorite goblin, Nog-Nig, which is like, if you're British, you know that's a really bad word in the making. Yeah.
It's a. I mean, why?
Yeah, I'm sure the French, like when they were like typing all of these names into the thing, they were like, "Oh, this is our Charlie Hebdo.
This is it. This is a great name in like a fan beam. It's a proud, proud French name.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this also, I can't tell if Cyanide also like get some of their inspiration from like already established, like Fumble has their automatic system as well for whatever, or there's like must be some rule book out there,
big
but
nameless there, yeah.
But it would be quite funny to imagine
cool
like
names.
for every like Lolathor or whatever, like very like low Ren, okay, I guess elfy names, you just get like 1 or 2 names that are like, okay, let's see if we can slip this one by everyone. Anyway,
Fan. Be tempted. Yeah.
I would be tempted to, but I would be. But yeah, Fan Bean, very good piece. That is his piece to push for removals. Okay,
he was pushing the SPP on that piece. Yeah. I think the first 2 touchdowns to get that leveled.
There's one thing I will point out though, like, could you like switch your players around to the Witch Elves on top and the Blitzers on top? Because I don't.
Why Fan being tucked down the bottom?
Why is that? Yeah, maybe you bought them later because this looks like this does look like a bit of a free Blitzer Witch build, which is quite fun.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so he's probably lineman died and he's put 2 people, but there's a switch player button. You can press that. It's cool. It helps me out.
It's tidy. It's tidy. I always do. I always like at the end of my game like not only do I put my positionals like, you know, in little blocks and all that, but I also go like, who's got the most SPP or the most skills? Oh, you're on top.
Yep. Who's my least favorite lineman? You're number 16.
Yeah, dickhead. I also put my MGs at the bottom as well, so they're all singled out. So,
that's even. Oh wow, you're even more dedicated than me. This is what we should aspire to.
Yeah, aspire. Yeah, do it. Be me.
Yeah, we should start naming, shaming, rate people.
if you. We were going to say this, and some like joke like Calcium or Buff Bark or whatever is going to like immediately switch up their entire team for the next game week.
It's gonna be horrible.
If you do that, I'm not going to cover your team, by the way. I'm just going to like click out and ignore team, and so yeah,
loud
do one.
Noises.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, on to Rattlesnake, and his team did get some nice juicy level ups. I think he's like more than doubled his guard. No, he's just doubled his guard. He's got like a guard linesman now, which is good. That's the perfect level up. You could get no better on a linesman than a named like Dodge after that. If he got Blodge and he was guard Blodge, you know, that'd be amazing.
That'd be a nice piece. He's got a level he hasn't taken yet on.
I spit on you,
SG4.
puh. I would
Maybe
say
it's secret. It's an exciting. It could be something exciting.
Here's my advice. If it's another edge up, take it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That'd be great. If it's strength up, then you have an armor up, no bloodlust, no hypno vampire. So take a strength up. If it's a movement up, you take that as well because now he's like your best scoring threat.
He's an elf, yeah.
If it's a double, dodge because you know even if you then go down the route of like guard and stand firm, he's amazing. But if it's normal. If it's normal, which is more likely, I would say look at your future schedules, like your future scheduling. But still, I think you can't go wrong with guard. If you've got a lot of dodge teams, then another tackle is okay, because then you have like an emergency dodge out on a 2+ hit. But otherwise, just get guard again, so you just have like that overwhelming guard. Because it helps.
To have guard. It
helps in the future as well. Like you might say, I have like plenty of guard for what I have now. But when you face someone like down the line, like Joe Craft Beers, or you face like a Claw team next season and all that, you would prefer to have the guard spam to make sure they just don't get any blocks whatsoever.
That's your one sort of, your one recourse against that, isn't it? You want 5, 6, 7 guard.
Yeah, even more. You might want 8. You might even want to get like the Troll and do that. But this is a solid team. It's got lots of block, got lots of guard.
It's just so neat and tidy, isn't it? It's just lovely.
Well, this is why we like Rattlesnake's team, and that's like why we called out as like a pretty good team, and it could be even a better of a team depending on what he gets. Like it doesn't have any of the unnecessary bloat or bad decisions that a lot of Orc coaches will make in the early thing. Like you'll see plenty of Orc coaches like just take a tackle first blitzer piece, which is okay, but they're doing it obviously for the schedule. And like when I see that, it's like that's okay, but that's a lot of touchdowns you have.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's like I have a lot of touchdowns you have to feed it from Mighty Blow to make it very effective, or like it's not as useful passively. It's just like a guard piece where it's like you have to feed him touchdowns anyway, but he's useful and could be complete for season 1 like that to an extent, you know. But
agree. The team could also be better if the linemen were at the bottom and the blitzers were at the top.
yeah, that's also ridiculous. I mean, like, unless you're trying to tell us some sort of thing where it's like, oh, the linesmen are the bedrock of the team. Also, I noticed
3 lining up on the line of scrimmage. I don't know.
I also noticed that he doesn't have Mr. Throw, so he could also be thinking, should I give Shuhan to the blitzer? You could, but one, I prefer to have him like just be useful on both sides of the ball, and Shuhan's, although can be useful on both sides of the ball, is you have Edge 4 anyway. Like you'll be fine for rerolls for the most part. Most of your blocks are safe. You can afford not to take Shuhan's on him and just be like, well, he'll be fine most of the time. Shuhan's on the blitz though is still kind of a waste for me. So I would still say guard, tackle maybe.
I reckon it's a double or a startup. Because he's taken the guard on the other guys, so you wouldn't take some level ups and not other ones unless it's something spicy, in my opinion.
Well, then again, my recap is for my div was like, oh, I bet his line rat that he got for his underworld team is like something spicy because he's thinking about a double or something. I was like, no, I have a normal, but I didn't know what to do with like. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it's a lot of decisions to make. Yeah.
Yeah, because my line rat was 2 heads and wrestle. And like I was making a decision: do I take tackle, or is tackle? Might I have enough tackle and juggernaut? So let's just take like, horns for the 2 dice blitzers and that kind of thing. And yeah, so that decision between 2 good normals.
There's a lot to think about, isn't there?
Yeah, I agree. But hopefully it is spicy because it's just fun to have fun pieces.
Yeah, especially on a team that's otherwise very nice and neat.
Yeah. Just
one guy who's just a freak it's even better.
Yeah. And we'll have an answer to that actually, what he should probably take in a little bit. We are going to go on to the predictions now. His team is going to be playing 3rd in terms of the schedule, but firstly, let's go and cover the first game for our predictions. Rorimbo's Orcs versus Alligatorade. Both of the teams
match.
Yeah, both the teams got smashed this game week. Just saying, like, look, let's recover our touchdown difference so our seasons don't go terrible.
12 between us. Yeah, this maybe it'll be a nice friendly game.
Yeah, maybe. It could be.
could be. Yeah, probably not. But yeah, they're there'll be a lot of camaraderie here. But I'm guessing they're gonna. I don't know who I favour though. I'm gonna say Rorimbo. I think.
I am leaning towards Rorimbo. Firstly, Rorimbo does get, in terms of inducements, 200k. So that could be 2 bribes, could be a babe and a wizard. Could be it could even, I think, maybe just sneak in Varag, depending. Yeah, he'll get 220 if he cuts this 20k he already has. So Varag is not a terrible idea. You don't really need it. But also, it's worth pointing out that he has Tackle Pom, and that's just like against Skinks. As long as he can turn the corner, he has plenty of strength anyway. He does have 4/4 strength.
He can match the strength, yeah, and then you also got the ability to kill that strength 1 skink.
Yeah, and you have like
Pom.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be sad for that guy.
Yep. So definitely, Rorimbo can think of either a wizard and like to be honest, a wizard against lizards can work. Sometimes you'll keep a lizard man coach for 4 or 5 turns. Then he realizes I'm losing the bash fight. I have to try and go for a break. He doesn't quite get into range for the next turn, or maybe he does like barely gets in range for the next turn, and then you can just go, okay, wizard, hit skink, pile in with my blitzers. You don't really have any like recourse for getting them free again without the edge up. He has no edge up pieces or anything, so he's all 3 edge.
I mean, yeah, the lightning bolt's likely to take a skink out, isn't it? So it's
But you could also you could get Varag and just say, well, he's also just another thing to help me deal with. As for a 4 strength piece, I think he is another piece to help match the lizards in strength. But yeah, so a lot of things to talk about.
Options. Yeah, but I think the favour is definitely pushing towards the Orc team, but you never know.
You never know, but I will predict
Darkest
Orcs.
He's due some nice luck. So, you know.
Yeah, he'll be alright. I mean, he could be okay, but I can't look beyond the Orcs for this game. It's just too good. And considering like what that Lizardman team doesn't have much. He has like block here and there, but it's nothing to compare with an Orc team that, one, had blocked from the get-go on a lot of its pieces anyway, and, you know, two, guarding that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Our next game is going to be a Elfoff Dusseldorf Rainfire versus the Duo Stuco Dragons, which is luckily Ricky Titan's being able to like rebuild his high elf team without too much in the way of like horrible matchups.
Yeah, they shouldn't be painful, but he's gonna really struggle on this. He's just like a better version of his team, isn't it?
Yeah, the only thing that his team really has going for it, apart from, you know, compared to the Dusseldorf, is the movement. But now with Mighty Blow Tackle, he could face a little bit of removal issue. I did say like, oh well, actually it's pretty good, not a terrible matchup as an Elfoff, but you know, I think a Mighty Blow Tackle could do the work. But there's certain things that this team has. He does have the Strength 4 catcher. He does have this and that. He could be okay. I still think this could be a 2-2. Personally, I think
it could be. You think? But he's won all his games so far, isn't he, old Siggy Knee?
yeah, Siggy racial insensitivity, man. Yeah.
And I think I reckon it could be like a 3-2 or something like this.
It could be.
Rolls all around.
Again, with an elf game, it's always the case of whoever fails like a critical action first is the one who just has the game swing against them.
Yeah.
And that
first
point,
blitz or first failed dodge.
Yeah, the first failed score even is massive. It could mean that
But
that
it can
turns.
be cagey as well.
It can be cagey. It can either mean that like that kind of thing can either mean like, oh, it'll be a 2-2 if the person who failed their first thing was a guy already in control, but a lot of the time it just means it's like a 3-2 to the other person or something like that. Depends on really.
Yeah, could be 3-3, could be 4-2 very easily.
The thing is that Ricky Titan kind of has to start scoring fast in a sense, because he doesn't have the bench to get into this sustained fight that he normally could. Normally this would be like a game where like both teams can kind of bash and it's all fine and dandy, but you will find, I think, the High Elves having to be on the run a bit more and having to like score faster and see if they can do something in defense, which could mean a 2-1 even. Either way, I think 2-2 is probably
boring.
It's boring, but
I'm going to go 3-2 for the Dark Elves, but I think it depends who gets the kickoff. Yeah, how a lot of it's going to go down to luck, I think, and how people are feeling that day.
Absolutely, yeah. If Ricky Titan gets the option to kick, he should kick, I think, because then if you can either even if you get 8 turns, you can still have a 1-turner in the pocket, and then do whatever for the 2-2 or the 2-1. But
let him set the pace, I think. You know, you don't want to be caught with your trousers down.
He needs a tempo badly. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we were talking about Rattlesnake's choice on his adjunct Mighty Blow piece, he plays Wolfbark this week. So Rattlesnake's a pretty good player, but we know Wolfbark is stunning. He's very good.
And he also has his team, which is
The main issue for Wolfbark is this: he a lot of guard in this team for Rattlesnake. There is now, of course, we must point out that he has a piece that just ignores armor or ignores guard, because you're blitzing on 4 strength your gut runner because he has horns and he has strength 3 anyway. So if you have one guard,
people out.
if you have like one guard annoying you, then that's like doesn't matter. It is worth pointing out though that the orcs will have roughly 200 and something, 260, 70 in inducements.
So that's proper money, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like, I can just
you
wizard a corner and like, or do it like, yeah, this is definitely, Wolfbark could be smashed to bits, especially if bribes come into play or Varag makes his appearance here. It's hard to predict. You have the 1-turner on the team for Wolfbark.
Because the 1-turner, because I mean, obviously game 1 or 2 was it? He got smashed to bits, but you can just 1-turn with like 4 guys on the pitch.
Yeah, precisely. So that's a hard game. In my opinion, I do think that Wolfbark has slightly more to his team still. Even how solid this Orc team is. Basically, the Orc team kind of has to rely on like just smashing the nonsense out of Wolfbark, really. And like you might think that's pretty easy as Orcs versus Skaven, but it doesn't happen. You
Look
know,
at Dark Cell, yeah. Even 50-odd blocks. it
yeah, I mean,
doesn't always happen.
yeah, Wolfbar could definitely be okay with that. He could definitely like just, and as you say, with the one turn, he can just be like on turn 3, yeah, no, bodge this, lay all my pieces down, don't stand them up again, and you know, as long as he's like keeping his storm vermin and his like gutter runners running around away from a cage, for example, there's no way that Rattlesnake's going to foul linesman. He could if he has like a bunch of bribes, but it's probably
You
a
could pick up a
waste.
couple of bribes, couldn't you? It's not a bad shout against these guys.
Yeah, he could even take up bribes and like just foul linesman if he really wanted to. Probably not a good idea. I'm not saying this is a great idea or
Not the
anything,
prime yet. Probably not the best idea.
but yeah, I guess Rattlesnake's the real question is, do I go after the linesman though? Just be like force, for example, the force the one turner onto the pitch quicker and then get my hit on
That's
him.
the dream, isn't it? Do you get those nice LOS blocks where you can just snowball? This could really snowball. I think this is going to snowball one way or the other, isn't it? I don't think it's going to be 1-1. It's going to be 2-0 to the Orcs or 4-0 to the Skaven.
I'm going to predict Skaven because I just back Wolfbark a lot.
Yeah, I think he's impressed me so far.
Yeah. That's actually worth pointing out now. The REBBL had this like feature, you know, which is like it predicts every matchup in terms of like their ELO and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I looked at that briefly for my division. I should have looked it for this division. I'll get that up.
I also looked it for myself and did not check these guys out. Genius.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, I guess we should. I guess we should have done that, but.
I think it had me losing my bye week, which is
Oh god. Well, very accurate reporting. Yeah, no.
That's. I mean, I probably will. That's gonna catch on.
Well, I mean, like it's either they can give you a free win or they can give you a free loss. I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's all down to the caprice of my admin.
Well, I won. I'm winning my one. My one is like, yeah, because Underworld have a good record against High Elves apparently, and also my Elo's higher. So, get in there, my son. But anyway,
because now it means if you draw, you've done badly. You're a bad coach.
But now looking at the Elo stuff, Wolfbark is predicted by the Elo thing to be 72% of chance of winning.
Wow, that's huge.
So Wolfbark, I think, is definitely a favourite still. We could do the lazy thing of just be like, our predictions now just based off his tool, but I do think like.
Let's have some. Yeah, we want some wildcard opinions here.
Wildcard opinions.
We're renegades.
It's better. We're renegades. It's better to like discuss it as well and like chat rather than just be like, well, your number is higher than your other man's number.
I'm smarter than a computer. Computer isn't smarter than me.
Yeah, fuck off, computers. Computer says no.
Absolutely.
But Wolfbark, I think, is the favourite here. Orc can do something. It's not a terrible matchup for Orcs, depending. With no inducements for the Skaven, it's much better. Because at least you're not like, oh, you can play okay, but you just get wizarded and lose 2-1. But it can still happen. If you have like a bad blitz, a kickoff event, or you have like whatever, why critical fail, Wolfbark can capitalize on that.
Yeah, it all depends, but I think, yeah, on the balance, you've got to favour Wolfbark, or I am going to anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Our next game is the Chaos Radiant Crusaders versus Legion of Metal. So that is Nurgle versus Necro, and I don't think a few games old Nurgle team with like barely anything on it is going to beat Legion of Demel.
Krebs, yeah, I think he's just got too much to handle for the Nurgle, isn't he?
You're going to have your rotters like pommed every single turn. See if you can force a DK on them.
Got through that Chorf match without any permanent injuries. He's all coming out full power.
Yeah, 9 movement, 4 edge, werewolf. Yeah. And even like you even have like a kick zombie to dictate the tempo of the game, so there's just not anything going really for the Nurgle team.
Yeah, they're just gonna get stuck in the middle of the pitch, surrounded by Necro. I think it's gonna be a cruel one.
It will be
not the funnest game.
Horrible. But hey, you just kind of weather these horrible games as Nurgle because you know what you're going to become.
Yeah, you know what you're going to. I'm sure he's going to be very zen again.
Absolutely.
Let it all wash over him.
So predictions 2-0 probably for Necro.
That could well be a 2-0, I think. Yeah.
Our next game, because that's so open and shut. Let's move on swiftly.
Yeah.
Well, another game that's pretty like let's move on. And that's.
I don't know, this is sort of a weird one. What do you? I don't know.
I mean, you could say, well, you know, Wood Elves are good even without their war dances. You do have one or two things like you have a good catcher, you have a good like linesman, but that's it. And
a good lineman. It's like this is how grim stuff is.
yeah, and like you get if you lose the LOS, like the chance to pick whether you kick or you receive. I mean, if he like, this is a game where you actually might receive for once and just like.
Get your touchdown in.
Get your touchdown in, you get 3 SPP, and plus, like, if something goes wrong in, like, his 3 or 4 turns, he might have to score, for example. You can make that 2-0. But,
I mean, this is a pretty good team to beat Khemri with, even if they're missing all of their players. You're still fast, you're still agile.
Yeah, you do have a pseudo war dancer in that linesman, so it's not the worst. But what happens if this guy has like tackle and he has like pom, so it's just you're gonna get your.
Yeah, he's got one. That one guy is obviously gonna ruin this team, but yeah, I mean it's he's gonna win, but you never know.
Well, that's another thing as well, but it's like, well, okay, also 2 dirty player is big, and
oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. Oh, this could actually be horrible.
This could be horrendous.
Now I've remembered that fouling exists.
Yeah, fouling exists, and like. Because he's like war dancers are out, he doesn't have like 2 assured pieces that are like, oh, these are at least definitely lodge, so you know, Team Guardians won't get a good time getting them unless they like 3 dice them, or like.
Yeah, do you just feed the throw-ra your loners, your blitz-ra, sorry, so you can just have everybody else can run around fairly okay?
Yeah, probably.
And just that moment of glory chew through this unending army of loner linemen.
The one thing that will like decide this game is like whether or not I say one thing. I've already said like if he loses the kick off the toss, then you know could be he's just dead. But another thing that might really affect the game is how many naked dodges that he can make.
Yeah. If you fail the first one versus the 4th one, very different game.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't know. I still think the Khemri might have this like 1-0. Could be 2-1, really.
I'm gonna go 2-1. This Khemri guy, he knows how to score goals. Yeah. Unlike most Khemri guys, I'm gonna go 2-1.
Yeah. So 2-1 for the Khemri. And you know how we're talking about how like the Alfheim artists have like an okay team still.
This is not friendly for these poor bad elves this week, is it?
So we said, well, you know, we've said this like last 2 weeks, I think. Calcium only really does have like, I don't know. He has 2 claw, mighty blow, but one of them is 3 movement. You know, as an elf team, you can kind of outrun them with a lot of blodge and sidestep. Well, you know, one of you rolls pals or rolls like defender stumbles with those blockers. That'll do the job anyway. But also, Calcium has a great fouling game, and also has a propensity to dicing the fucking shite out of his opponents as far as in.
So it's a good ability to have.
Yeah, so Calcium, a fantastic player. Although we've been predicting him to lose every single game, because it's just like your team's a little bit underdeveloped, I think at this point, we know he's a good coach anyway, but we know he knows how to leverage like what he does have on the team to get the removal game, which is pretty important as Chorfs. And also, GMAN admin McNaughton also threatened to beat me up if I kept predicting Calcium to lose. He called me an effing Essex chaff if I. And which is untrue because I am not from Essex. I'm from London.
That's a hate crime.
Yeah, it was hate crime. You know, Scotch bastard. But also, I'm from London, and do not ever listen to when McNaughton like messages you and says you should name one of your players in your team Chav Manmilk. Don't do it. Once again, it's a hate crime, and I can get you done for that.
As someone who's not from London, though, it is nice to call people from London
Essex Chavs, yeah.
They love it. They love to hear it.
Well, you can do the same thing for Cambridge as well. I knew a girl who was like from Saffron Walden in Cambridge, but it's also like on the border between like Essex and Cambridge, I guess, or whatever.
Definitely from Essex.
Yeah, definitely. Well, everyone in like my university was like, "Oh, you're not from London, you're from Kent." But you know, being called Essex, I'm like, not even the right part of London. If I was in North London, then maybe.
That's what makes it even worse. Yeah, not even the right wrong.
It's just BM. It's just bad manners.
It's just.
But yeah, I predict.
It's pure BM.
I predict Calcium for this one. I
think 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. I mean, Dark Quark, you're good, but one, as I said, I'm being threatened by the Scotch Mafia, and two, you are a squishy elf team, so it's what it is.
You no longer have his defense was built around playing it safe, going in with Frida Kahlo. No longer an option.
Can't do
It's
it.
gonna take a while to figure that stuff out, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And last game, Freya's Guard versus European Carpiers. This could be a very bloody one.
Ooh, this could be horrible for both. Which is I'd love it if this was just a horrible game where everybody died. Wouldn't that be nice?
If Tom Racing gets the chance to hit first, he could literally just bang, remove, bang, remove, bang, remove, and it's like, oh well. And that's Norse's time to get dice.
Yeah, it could be a lot about who goes first, isn't it? Really.
The great thing about the Norse is they do have a 3-man bench, so it's not the worst thing. But on the
flip side of the case, they actually get a bit of some bribes or something.
They get a bribe or I think a wizard or it's either like a. You can either go a babe and a Apo, a babe and a bribe, or a wizard, and those are depending on whether or not you want to win, you want to have a good chance of winning. So the middle ground of or it's I would rather just survive. It's really those kind of you can break down those three into those three options. I
think Tom Racing likes to win though.
We're good, yeah, good. There's no reason to play for just team survival. I think if your team dies, usually it's okay. Rebel seasons are pretty long. They are 11 games or 12 games long, which kind of sucks for people who do
if
play
you die in game 3. Yeah.
Yeah, which But even then, I would still be like, oh, let's just go hard in the paint. Let's just go like that. Just go and win. Tom Racing does have some good things to his team. He does have a block Minotaur.
Couple of dodge pieces.
The fact he has no claw doesn't matter at all, really.
Yeah, no one's immune to claw, so that's fine.
He has guard here and there, which is good. Yeah, this team could be okay. It could do all right, is the word. He has a bench of 1. What I'd recommend for Tom Racing is this. Think very hard about what you want to get out of the game. I think a bribe and a babe or a wizard could really help. You could even go 2. I guess you could go 2 babes, but it's not effective. You could go 2 babes, but a bribe and a babe or a wizard is great. You could even dip into your own treasury to scum a babe after the wizard.
He's got a little bit more. Yeah, I think a babe is just nice versus Norse, isn't it? Yeah. They knock a lot of people out.
And my other recommendation for him would be to dice the shy out of the Norse.
I think I feel like this game really is going to be who just gets the better dice, isn't it? Do you think?
Yeah, well, that's Norse. They just need to get the good removal dice.
They're just going to walk into each other.
In terms of predictions, I'm going to make a bit of a spicy prediction, which is no prediction. I'm not predicting this game because I think it's too high variance. Yes, it's easy to remove Norse pieces, but at the same time, that's a less effective Chaos team compared to the Norse team, due to the fact that it has to spend a lot of its TV on getting the basic utensils. The Norse team has some fantastic killing pieces, including its own Claw Mighty Blow. You could maybe give it to the Norse, but I'm actually going to give this my first neutral result of the week. It's a one to watch.
I'm going to give it to the Norse because they're
okay. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick, it'd probably be Norse. Yeah, if I had to pick, it's probably Norse.
I think you're right. I think this is high variance. You could always put it as a draw. It could be 1-1, couldn't it?
Yeah. Could be.
No one ever even picks up the ball.
Yeah, everyone just fails and hits each other, and it's just it's just the sure hands Blodge Beastman versus the Blodge Runner for the next 6 turns of the game, just staring at each other, trying to pick up the ball, failing. It's scattering next to them. The other guy dodging out, picking up the ball, failing on the 4+, and just that is the entire game. That'd be quite funny. I'd love that.
I'd like, looking forward to rewatching that. This is only taking place in less than 24 hours, isn't it? So we'll get an answer soon.
Yeah, very much. And I'll make sure to watch this one as my Stone Cold Lock of the Century of the week. But yeah, that's the entire thing. I will also say we're not looking at the leaderboard really. It's worth pointing out though that like Siggy, Racial Insensitivity, and Calcium are currently our leaders. Glaudian and Wolfbark coming up the rear. You know, not to be unexpected. Calcium is kind of like, wow, it's amazing you've done that well. And you know, Siggy I didn't have much of a knowledge about beforehand, but they've put in some very solid performances these last 3 weeks. Wolfbark though, I'd expect that from him anyway. He's like a really good coach. And Glaudian just has like had one of the strongest teams in the entire like league or entire division, I say. Not the entire, not the league, because as we know, the best team in the league is Team Fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, hard to compete with those guys, but that's a long way above poor humble 4C.
Yeah, absolutely. That's in the heady heights of Division 1.
Financial doping, petrodollars, Russian oligarch owners. It's a different
yeah, no, it's not quite like Division 4C, which is like Accrington Stanley plays a 0-0 versus
sponsored by Crown Paint. It's
Crown Paint. At least one of the teams is like being threatened about being kicked out of the football league.
Yeah, falling into administration. Yeah.
Not like 3C where it's all like Charlton Athletic.
So boring. It's stable, but where are you gonna go from there?
Yeah, but at least you do still have the chance of seeing like everyone kick the shit out of each other. That's the good thing about the mid divisions, the divisions of death.
People know what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah, and also like Division 2 and 3 are like definitely the ones where it's like you've had like a few teams for like 3 or 4 seasons. They've picked up their ridiculous stats and then doubles, and you just have like murder pieces. Which is like me, who now has my 102 SPP killer with Claw Palm, Horns, Juggernaut, and he's just insane. He just dices the this week I killed a natural 1-turn Skaven Gutter Runner.
That's just me. That
and edged down a Claw Palm Storm Vermin, and all I got back was a loss, which is like whatever. It's like I wanted to win that because I want to like get into like Sippy Cup or playoffs. Like that's my ambition. I got into Sippy Cup last season.
Nice.
But also like I did do my service, and all I got was an M&G for it. So I won. Who won?
The real winner here.
Yeah. My recapper who has like no team left and has to like. He said like this. I guess I'm gonna re-roll next season. Who win, him or me? Who's like has a healthy team, has like a bunch of SPP, and like look at me, I'm big boy.
If you delete everyone else's SPP,
yeah.
Walk it by the end.
Yeah, definitely. But that is the end of the game, or not the game, the recap now.
The end of the week.
The week. That's true. Yeah, real stuff. So, thanks for everyone tuning in. Again, we appreciate all the comments that you leave, either on REBBL, the Reddit, whatever. I'm not good thinking or talking right now because I've done this for an hour or whatever.
This is
This is the longest one we've done, by the way, an hour 21.
I didn't even see the timer.
Wow. But yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, they were 25.
I keep
listen to these. I hope so.
I know, like when I did my first recap to with Metal and like whatever season I did that in, he was like, yeah, we get things done effectively, efficiently. We do things like in 30 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, that seems like fair enough. You just breeze through, and then it's like whenever I do one, I'm like,
points, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I'm like, yep, well, don't worry, this will be a fast one. An hour, 20 minutes later, oh shite.
You've gone from Metal to me. This is where you get,
I know.
4C.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about, and it's also again fun shooting and shite.
This was an incredible. Got to be said. This is the quality of games this week for entertainment value.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic.
no, yeah.
Like 4 or 5 amazing games this week.
It's brilliant. I love it. This is a very interesting and very entertaining division to cover. I don't say that about every division, only the ones that I cover every season.
This is my first one, so I've got no expectations, low standards.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be like you'll look back on this and go, wow, I had an amazing recap co-caster, amazing division. Everything else is just ashes in my mouth. But
nothing will ever taste as sweet.
Well, yeah,
4C man milk.
You remember your first time when you pop your recap cherry, and I do. I do.
Absolutely.
But anyway, before I get myself into trouble by more, innuendos or racial insensitivity,
Good man, Milk talking about innuendos.
yeah,
It's not even an innuendo, is it? It's just.
we've had a
It's
bit of
just text.
we've had a bit of a racy episode. We've talked about innuendos. We've talked about Siggy racial insensitivity, and we've talked also about the French being racist with their auto-gen names. But
Yeah, we've covered a lot of spicy.
it's fun to be controversial. But you know what? It's fun. I like it. But we have to stop this now before I get into trouble, and also because it's too long. You gotta go.
But nearly 90 minutes. It's almost like a film. No.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
Yeah, definitely. It's like Full Metal Jacket, but for Blood Bowl. Without further ado, though, we are signing out now. Thanks for everyone tuning in. We hope you enjoy. It's me, GMAN signing off.
And good night from me, Lord Brainlord.
And see ya.